Good afternoon, this is Burke Lyle, bringing you the latest news in Major League Baseball. Right now, New York Mets news is not very good. I mean, you think about what's going on with the Mets. Jacob deGrom, and I made a video about that earlier, a stand-up video, is going to be out for at least 2 months, since what I'm reading is he's going to not throw for 4 weeks. So you don't throw for 4 weeks, and then all of a sudden it's May 1st, and then you think, okay, how is Jake doing? How's his arm right now? And come May 1st, you think, okay, he's good to throw. Then it's like you're ramping yourself back up, so maybe you throw this bullpen here, and then or play catch here, throw a bullpen here, and then maybe do a couple rehab starts, and then you're ready to go late May or whatever, right around June 1st. Well, what if your team has played 54 games already, or when it is, and you're a 2020 and you're a 27 caliber club? And for the Mets, again, this is a competitive NL East. I think the Marlins could be better than people think. I think the Marlins have a shot to make it to the playoffs this year. The Phillies could be particularly good this year. They could be better than they are last year and make it to the playoffs. And by the way, Max Scherzer, who we thought would take over for Jacob deGrom, now all of a sudden is having hamstring issues. And we don't know if we'll be able to pitch on opening day now. So that's two pitchers who have won. Let's see the last Cy Young. Scherzer 16, 17. deGrom 18, 19. And then deGrom probably would have won it last year if he was healthy. So these are pitchers who have won 4 straight Cy Youngs from 16 through 19. And one of these pitchers could very well win it again. This year deGrom probably out of the race already. But Scherzer, again, a pitcher who, for the most part, has been fairly healthy. Yes, he had that neck issue in the middle of the World Series in 2019 and had to be pushed to Game 7 for his start. But he got scratched from an inter-squad game, and what it looked like is he just pitched as planned. He's having that hamstring issue again. Scherzer doesn't like to miss time. Scherzer is a tough pitcher, yet when that happens, now all of a sudden you're starting to get concerned right now. So you look at the rest of the Mets right now. I mean, this is a team that, again, could win the East, could challenge the Braves for the East. I mean, if there's any team right now that I think would challenge the Mets or challenge the Braves, I think that it would potentially be the Mets. And again, this is a Mets team. When you look at the lineup, you have Pete Alonso. Maybe you could have Jeff McNeil bounce back. You get Robinson Cano back. Francisco Lindor clearly should be better than he was last year, at least offensively. So getting that back and getting the production back from him as well, this could be a good lineup. And then, well, your pitching's not quite the same. So you don't have deGrom. And Scherzer, I don't think the injury is as serious. I mean, you never know. Let's say Scherzer's fine and he either pitches through this issue or it's not an issue. I don't know. So you have Scherzer. You could have Taijuan Walker. How good is the rest of the rotation? I mean, yes, you brought in Chris Bassett, Carlos Carrasco. It's really hard to say. Again, and you're not getting like Cleveland Indians, say, I don't know, Carlos Carrasco in his prime, say 2017, 2018. Yeah, his prime, I'd say, was kind of 2017, 2018. Those years were, again, 200 inning type pitcher, capable of 200 plus strikeouts, kind of that version of Carrasco. You're not going to get that. It's just not going to happen this year. And really for him, it was really 2019 when things started becoming an infection. I mean, yes, is a cancer survivor as well. So again, has had to deal with a lot. So this is a Mets team that is clearly not, I don't know, again, every year it seems like something goes wrong for the Mets. Every year, something has to go wrong. Last year, it looked like, again, and the Mets try to win every year. I mean, yes, you brought in Eduardo Escobar, Marcana, as well as your addition Starlin Marte. So this is your new Mets team. This is a Mets team that should be better than last year when you won 87 games with that figure right now. And it'll be interesting. And again, you have a new manager in Buck Showalter. Buck Showalter is different than Luis Rojas. Showalter's had success in every team that he's managed. Had success with the Orioles. Had success with the Diamondbacks. Had success with the Rangers. Even the Yankees pre-Joe Torre. So this is someone who's had success for almost 30 years as a manager, and that's going to help the Mets out tremendously. Now, again, the loss of deGrom is going to be huge. I feel like there will be games that the Mets will lose where they otherwise would have won with deGrom, regardless of, say, he misses 54 games. I think that looking at their record then, I feel like you can't help but think they could have won more games, and this could be the difference between making the playoffs and missing the playoffs. Being a Braves team that won 88 wins, that won the World Series last year. They got hot, got in, and then were the best team throughout every round in the playoffs. What if the Mets don't hit in the first half? What if Max Scherzer continues to have issues? That's something to think about. What if none of your starting pitching is effective? What if Chris Bassett's not good, or Carrasco's ineffective, or Taijuan Walker is ineffective as well? Whoever you have. This could, again, the Mets, two things. One, they could win the East and make a deep playoff run, or I'm not surprised, they could be the most disappointing team in baseball. That is if they miss the playoffs again and again. Or is this going to be a team that wins 80 games and misses the playoffs? Or is this going to be a team that wins 90 games and makes the playoffs? Or wins 75 games? I could see that too. I feel like the last 5-6 years the Mets have thought they could be good. Clearly had talent on their team. And at the end of the day, when the season ended, sure, they might have had good stretches. Like in 2019, they were hot in the second half. They won 85 games. Didn't carry over into 2020. Last year, sure, they were in first place for much of the year. I think through August, through parts of August even, before the Braves ultimately caught them and passed them, and the race wasn't really particularly close. I think the Braves won 88 games and the Mets won, 77? Phillies were in second place. You have those possibilities too. So now the question remains, do the Phillies, or do the Mets, how do they handle go without deGrom? And again, we won't know for sure. Yes, he'll be missed. Yes, watching deGrom pitch is a lot of fun. Watching him throw 100, and with those breaking balls, watching him dominate a game is a lot of fun. You won't get to see that, and this team won't have that. And you wonder if Max Scherzer starts to show any decline at all either. So, very expensive rotation. I mean, deGrom's made $34 million this year. Scherzer's $43 million. So $77 million. Again, the Mets have a huge payroll. I think I checked, it was somewhere around $250, I think. Second highest in baseball. Finally, the Dodgers. Yes, the Mets have a huge payroll, and the question is, those two guys take up about a third of your payroll, and they'll be pitching essentially in about a third of your team's games, and you won't even have deGrom. So again, deGrom also thinking about opting out. You wonder if he reconsiders after this recent injury. So I don't know. The Mets, we'll see how they do. Again, it takes a long time to judge a season. I probably won't really have an idea about a team until May 1st. Then again, like to give it more time into June, the All-Star break, and then really the trade deadline is when you really know what a team is, and then you may not even know until the end of the year. This is again, Mets last year, first place for about 2/3 of the season, and then fell off. After that, they got Javier Baez, who was kind of inconsistent on the Mets anyway. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this Mets team does. Last year is clearly they were dependent on deGrom. And again, they had all these Cy Young caliber seasons out of deGrom, and yet little success outside of deGrom. So we'll see what the Mets do. We'll see what they do. We'll see how they fare. But just right now, that's a team that you could already start to be concerned about. And they haven't even played a game yet and you're already starting to feel concerned. Well, that's everything. This is Burke Lyle. My take on the Mets.